Alrighty, folks, we're going to do a little talk about personal finance, specifically how taxes punish you. One of the things that I learned going to school, becoming an accountant, and getting an MBA is the tax code is a reward and punishment system. Most people do not understand this. Dion, this is a topic you are particularly passionate about. Talk about how taxes punish you.
Well, the idea of taxes, just the idea of it, is one of the reasons why I was able to retire early. How I look at taxes. And I think I was like the average person. If you went to the average person who's not watching a bunch of content on personal finances and how to better their financial future, and you ask them about taxes, they'll say, well, it punishes you. The more you make, the more you pay. So they punish the rich, right? And then you see tax the rich. It's actually you can wear an expensive gown to an expensive gala thing and say, look, tax the rich even more. And that's not how it works. First, then I became a manager at a company, and I had the conversation with several people that know if you work overtime, you're not being taxed more. The company has a flat 25% thing for bonuses that you're going to get taxed. But at the end of the year, when you balance out your taxes, you have a graduated, and no, I couldn't ever explain it in terms that would make sense to an employee that saw their check didn't grow as much as the overtime hours looked like. So to the average person, it looks like the more you make, the more you're taxed. And then the idea of taxes punishing you is people think it's a punishment system if you make more. But we have sin taxes, right? If you don't want people to smoke, tax cigarettes. If you don't want people to drink, tax alcohol. If you don't want people to work in W-2 jobs, tax employees the most. People think the government needs employees. They're the backbone of the economy. No, they're the backbone of the voting base, that you have to say that you support the employee, left or right, doesn't matter. You have to say you're for the middle class to get the most votes. So that's where the libertarian thing comes in for Matt. But if you say, okay, if you are an employee and you take state tax, Social Security tax, Medicaid, all these taxes are going to be in there. Most employees are in the 40% tax bracket. If they make a decent income, the less you make, the less taxes you're going to pay, because you get Section 8 food stamps, the child daycare subsidies, all these benefits from taxes that can happen. So lower income can actually benefit more from taxes too. But we punish the middle class unless you own a business. Now, if you own a business, you can get paid, have expenses, and then pay taxes on what's left. Unless you're an investor, because what does the country need? Innovation, housing. We say, tell you what, you buy a house, use the bank's money to buy it. We'll let you depreciate the whole value. We'll let you gain appreciation on the whole value. And then you'll have somebody like me, who most of my working career made less than $50,000 a year. And I had my last couple, I broke that thing, but I'll make a couple $100,000 a year the last couple of years in a row from rentals, and haven't yet paid a penny in rental income tax. I will. I look forward to being so stupid rich I have to pay taxes on my rental income. That's not going to be a bad day. That's going to be a fun day that I'm looking forward to. All the while working next to people before I retired who were making really good money and paying a ton of taxes on it. I was punished for the W-2 that I had. I paid more taxes on my W-2 income than I probably will pay on rental income for the next decade.
Yeah, there's no doubt in that. Matt, when you think about the tax system being a punishment and a reward system, what do you think?
Yes, it's a punishment. Of course it is. And I see it now, and it's one of those things where it was like Section 8 housing is something that I have to do to feel like the circle is closed, right? So I do a big project and I get beautiful units, and then I rent them to Section 8, and then they help destroy the units over time in a faster pace. But then they pay me rent, but then I pay taxes. And so it's just but that's what completes the cycle. Because before it was just, there was no getting my money back. But when Section 8 pays me, I'm paying myself back with my own money. It's just in their name, because that's who the government decided to give it.
You gave it to them, and then they gave it back to you.
So, I'm part of the biggest wealth distribution plot in America, and I'm super thrilled about that. But, again, I think just like anything, it incents behavior. Why is the tax structure set up around housing the way that it is? Because the government sucks at it doing it by themselves. And they recognize all I have to do is put incentives out there. And the private sector will take care of itself.
Yeah.
You know, look at where the biggest tax benefits are, and that's the thing that you should be doing, because it's not about being given money. It's about being charged less.
Yeah. I think really, again, all three of us, we are not accountants or CPAs. So again,
No.
you know, not financial advice. But the thing that really got me, and we actually had a course when I was getting my MBA on taxes. And when you think taxes, you can either look at them as punishment or look at the code as reward. What I would tell you is most poor people look at it as punishment, and most rich or wealthy people look at it as incentives or rewards. Because the tax code is written in a way so that the country could move forward in certain areas. That's why there's all of these tax codes.
Mhm.
And it really is a mental mind shift. And let me give you just one example. Again, check with your CPA. If you start a small business on content creation, right? Let's say for a minute you are a Star Wars fan. And every year for the last 20 years, you have spent somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 creating the greatest Star Wars collection ever.
Mhm.
All of those expenses to date have been what's called below the line. Think after taxes. If you launch a small business talking about Star Wars collectibles and coaching and try to make it a for-profit entity, right? So it can't be charity. It has to be a for-profit entity, but you can do that. You could start a channel on YouTube. You could start a blog. You could do website, whatever you want. You could get advertisers and, you know, all of these things. What would happen to that $2,000 to $4,000 is you could, in theory, and again, talk to your accountant, take those expenses from below to above the line, AKA pre-taxes.
Mhm.
Think about your phone, your computer, all of these things. If you can understand how to take stuff from below the line to above the line, it is simply magical. Again, talk to your CPA for your specific case. But Dion, what do you think of all that?
So to put it into like a teacher mode, okay, it's really hard to remember what it's like to not know something. And all of us, since we've been working, understand that we know taxes. We know if I earn money, I'm going to pay taxes. So let's take two people to zero. There's two people who have zero income. And this is why I see taxes as a punishment more than an incentive program. So if they both have $0 and they both make $0, and one person borrows money from a bank to buy an investment property, they get to depreciate it. They get to have write-offs. They're going to pay zero taxes. So nothing changes. But this person over here gets a W-2 job and starts earning money. They're now paying state tax, federal tax, Social Security tax, Medicaid, all these taxes come up 40%. So they work January, February, and March, maybe part of April, most people, for the government.
Yeah.
So the person that isn't paying taxes saw no change in their taxes. It's not an incentive. That's why I don't see it as, it is an incentive program, but I see the punishment more. And I want to open people's minds to, we can't see this because we know we pay taxes when we work. And then it's really hard to remember what it's like to not know something. You know you pay taxes when you work, but go back to zero. Start with when you weren't making anything. Now take it to you earn income and you can buy investments and you can shift your income from I'm being punished by having a job to I own the assets that pay me. And now I don't have taxes. That's where it's an incentive. You now lose the tax obligation that you have. But when you were both starting at zero, there was only punishment, no incentive, because it stayed the same for the investor.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in that. Matt, what do you think about when you hear taxes, punishment, rewards?
I mean, so like I said, I think that it's, I always want to align myself with what my goal is. And so I find somebody that's done it before and I align to that. And I understand, what did they do? What did it take? And I think that, while there's ever pursuit of understanding the tax code, it's 44,000 pages. I'm never going to get there.
Never.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I pay every quarter to have a call with a tax expert
Yep.
and go through it and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm planning on doing. I think that I would love a flat tax, because then everybody would pay their fair share. So I would love a flat tax. So for those people out there, most rich people would like a flat tax. They would like a flat tax. That'd be a good thing. And I would be all for it. I would love a flat tax. But I think with the system being what it is, that would completely rock the economy, because how many millions of CPAs and those people do we have, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to. So now it's going to be the eternal battle of 80,000 additional IRS agents, with now more people getting their CPA degrees. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that the key to it is understanding it. And are you a carrot or are you a stick person? Some people learn because they're incented to do so. Other people learn because they're afraid of being whacked with the stick.
Mhm.
And so everybody uses it for their different motivations. Some people become professional victims when they get gotten after, and other people use it as fuel. As you can tell, I think we all know which camp of that I'm in. And that's the thing, is it was just like fuel. It was like, oh yeah, but what would you know? You're a ninth grade dropout. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to buy you 100 times over in 10 years. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So I think that people just need to recognize whatever it is that they believe is their supreme motivator, that they understand better what the carrot and the stick are as part of both of those, and then use that to fuel the fire. Because again, some people need that adulation that they're doing an amazing job, even when all they did was open up the door.
Yeah.
And other people just need to get whacked and just go, okay, yeah, not going to do that again. That hurt.
Yeah. One of the things, again, we'll just give you this as we kind of wrap up this, taxes are a punishment. In the real, I work with a lot of folks that exceed the income threshold, so they can't write off rental losses,
Of
right?
course.
AKA passive losses.
Of course.
So there is, again, not a CPA, talk to your CPA, all of that, not financial advice. But in the real estate game, there is an investment type that takes it from a passive investment to an active investment. AKA, some people will call this the short-term rental loophole. Now, what is that? And why is it a quote unquote loophole? Again, talk to your CPA. There are all kinds of rules that you have to check. So this is, again, not tax advice, but short-term rental is not a passive income because it's called hospitality. You're essentially a hotel operator. You are not this, monthly landlord, who gets the check in the mail once a month. It's certainly much more active.
Mhm.
So you have to understand how the tax system is set up so that you can make choices that benefit you. And if you are a high income earner, I know a lot of them are looking at this quote unquote loophole because it will allow them to take the depreciation and take the losses, even the phantom losses, against active income if they hit all the requirements. It's just, to me, I totally get where Dion comes from as the teacher and not knowing, and he's far smarter than I am. But to me, my life changed when I realized the tax system, the 40,000 pages, is nothing more than the secret roadmap to rewards. And that's when my life changed. And I really realized, hey, if I even understood 100th or 1,000th of this, or to Matt's point, I pay experts for advice, my life gets better. I can take below the line to above the line. A lot of people talk about, you hear the Richie Rich, like Meet Kevin and Grant Cardone, buying airplanes and taking depreciation, on December 31st. You hear some people buying Land Rovers because they're over some weight limit, whacking off income. These are all things that are in the tax code. So
Yeah.
don't look at, I would tell you not to look at it as a penalty. If you just change your mindset and you seek advice, there might be things you could do to improve your situation. Dion, thoughts? Wrap us up.
So the IRS and the lobbyists for the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants are never going to allow a flat tax.
No,
No,
agreed.
it's not going to.
No.
Not happening.
The first thing, the second thing to wrap up with is Matt's analogy of Section 8 being that circle of life. Imagine being the employee working for a company, paying all of the taxes that goes to the Section 8 program and then not getting it back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's the
One
open
way.
circle out there for most people. It's just a one-way direction, right?
Yeah.
I hope this video makes people at least think of how taxes should influence how you plan your future.
Oh, I love that. Love that. Matt, closing thoughts?
I agree. I mean, I think at the end of the day, find out if you needed to be the carrot or the stick. You know thyself, understand how you get motivated, and if it needs to be because for me it was annoying to me that I was paying all this money into the system and not really seeing anything back. I always tease one of the towns that I do business with because the only benefit that I get from them is a library card. And so I always tell them, I was like, want to see my $250,000 library card? Here it is. They're like, it's just a regular library card. No, but it cost me $250,000 because I don't get any other services in this town.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, guys,
Yeah.
you are amazing. Thank you for being a part of the Three Amigos. Take care.
Thanks,
Ciao.
Mike.